Mm. Sahana bhavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we'll chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verses 11 to 20.
सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा वेद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वमित्युत लोभः प्रवृत्तिरारम्भः कर्मणामशमस्पृहा रजस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे भरतर्षभ अप्रकाशो प्रवृत्तिश्च प्रमादो मोह एव च तमस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे कुरु नन्दन यदा सत्त्वे प्रवृद्धे तु प्रलयं याति देहभृत् तदोत्तमविदां लोकान् अमलान् प्रतिपद्यते रजसि प्रलयं गत्वा कर्मसङ्गिषु जायते तथा प्रलीनस्तमसि मूढयोनिषु जायते कर्मणः सुकृतस्याहुः सात्विकं निर्मलं फलम् रजसस्तु फलं दुःखम् अज्ञानं तमसः फलम् सत्त्वात् संजायते ज्ञानं रजसो लोभ एव च प्रमादमोहौ तमसः भवतो ज्ञानमेव च ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्ताः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जघन्यगुणवृत्तिस्थाः अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः नान्यं गुणेभ्यः कर्तारम् यदा द्रष्टानुपश्यति गुणेभ्यश्च परं वेत्ति मद्भावं सोऽधिगच्छति गुणानेतानतीत्यत्रीन् देही देहसमुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्युजरा दुःखैः विमुक्तो मृतमश्नुते
You muted
You
them.
have to unmute.
Thank you. So we've been studying the three gunas, and we have studied that in all of us, a particular guna predominates. So basically, we find this chapter very, very simple. It is almost like he's taking a break and he's letting Arjuna take a break. It is so simple. And then next chapter, it'll be Upanishadic level. And then 16 again, it will become very, very easy again. So this is a very, very simple chapter. You've already understood. Sattva is the highest guna. Rajas is the middling one. And tamas is the lowest guna. All of us have all three. In everyone's case, some guna or the other will predominate. Right? So far, so good. Now we are going to see what is he going to say after that. So far, so good, right? So now what is he going to say? Now what he's going to talk about is, okay, so one guna predominates. What happens then? If you are in tamas or rajas or sattva, how is that known that this is predominant? That's the first thing. And then if it is predominant, what is going to be the effect of that? So the next 10 verses are very, very simple. You will quickly get it. Let's see how fast we go through them, because, when I read it, I think, oh, okay, everybody knows this, we can continue. But somehow that doesn't quite happen in class. So, I mean, not that I'm trying to discourage questions. Questions are the primary windows to knowledge. So questions are most welcome, because somewhere somebody is wanting to know something. And that wanting to know is always respected in any transaction of knowledge. So, verse 10 told us that one of the three predominates in us. Now, verse 11 tells us that what happens if sattva predominates, and then what happens if rajas and tamas predominate. Okay, he follows very rational ways of thinking. So, let's do verse 11. सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वमित्युत सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वमित्युत. What happens when sattva predominates? When yada tada is a idiomatic construction, when then. So vidyat is should be known. Vivruddham sattvam, that means sattva is predominant. When is this sattva going to be predominant? Sarvadvareshu, asmin dehe, in this body, prakasha upajayati, from all the gates of this body, when prakasha upajayati, when light streams forth from all the gates of the body. Now, you must appreciate that he has used the word body when talking about sattva. You know perfectly well, right? Sattva, rajas, tamas is a classification of
Thoughts.
And yet he says dehe. It's a very interesting usage. If you sort of get what he is getting at. Do you know why he probably used the word dehe?
Because you can only communicate.
I can't hear you.
Because only you can communicate through your body.
Okay, that is definitely one way of looking at it. But why communicate over here? And he's not telling us to tell people that we are sattvic. So he's sort of close. When we try to analyze ourselves, we analyze how good we are, how sattvic we are, how rajasic, how tamasic, based on our
Intentions.
Sorry, you said it together, so I didn't hear you. Based on our
equipment. The
Intentions.
body. Behavior.
Thoughts. So
Behavior?
I think
No.
on our thoughts, suppose I think to myself, oh, that person is suffering, I should give that person 15,000 rupees. What will I classify myself as?
Very generous.
Very
Sattvic.
Thoughts.
Isn't it? So I classify myself based on what my thoughts are. I say I'm interested in Vedanta. I'm a Vedanta student based on
Thoughts.
I
Thoughts.
think, right? Oh, Vedanta is so great, this, that, and the other. On my thoughts. But when I classify other people, I classify them based on
Actions.
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 अपने आप को बड़ा जेनरस समझता है कितना दिया
Janki ji, maybe on looks? No? Maybe on looks also?
looks means what are you looking at? Actions, right? So when we classify ourselves, we're very generous. I'm a Sattvic person because I believe in Vedanta. You are not a Sattvic person because you did nothing for Vedanta. Right? So when we are classifying ourselves, we classify it based on thoughts. When we classify others, we classify based on their action. We say, oh, that action is really bad. How can he behave like this? We have all sorts of things. But if I have done a wrong action, I say, anybody in this position will behave like this, I don't mean to do any wrong action, but he did this and she did this and this happened and that happened and I was in a hurry and then no. I have many excuses when I have done a wrong action, and I have very little charity when other people have done wrong action. Right? This is how we are, all of us. All humans are like that. We humans always think of ourselves as some gift of God to mankind, while the rest of the world is just a mess. This is our natural tendency. So therefore, he's using the word dehe. When the light streams forth from all the gates of the body, that means when our actions, my own actions, are sattvic, let me know myself to be sattvic. Do not gauge degree of sattva by what you think, but what have you done? What is your performance? I know this person. I don't know how to say it because some of you know the person. The person will meet you and express so much desire for your welfare and desire for Vedanta's welfare and the dedication to the Vedanta University. And so much, when he talks, you think, Baap re, how much is this person going to do? But his performance is zero. And some of you I know who had to deal with him have faced the consequences of that. So the way he talks, you think, oh my God, this guy's full of values. But when it comes to work, zero. So you say, yeah, I care so much about Vedanta. I'm going to do this for Vedanta. Mahesh also, I'm sure, can think of another person who he currently has to deal with. When she first met us, she promised us the moon and stars and saying, oh, you're doing Vedanta. I'm going to do this for you, that for you. Eventually, she's cheated us. Can you believe from where to where? So it's an incredible thing. And if you ask her position on it, my God, I care so much for Vedanta, and actually just cheated. So everybody is looking at their own thoughts and justifying every single thing they do. We as sadhaks must know that my sattva is only the sattva I do. Otherwise, if you don't take it like that, the word dehe here makes no sense. When light streams forth from all the gates of the body, what are the gates of the body? How many gates to the body are there?
Navadvare.
Okay, you can say Navadvara.
Navadvare, no.
You can also say 10. Right? 10 is our more usual way of putting it. So there are 10 gates to the body. What are these 10 gates to the body? I feel you say Navadvare because he said Navadvare but technically there are 10. So what are the 10?
Organs of perception and action.
Very good. 10 organs of perception, 10 organs of action. Oh, Deepa, I heard your voice after a very long time. So 10 organs of action and 10 organs of perception.
Just finished with Swamiji's course, so I'm back to you.
All right. All right, from the original to the abridged. Okay. So 10 organs of action, 10 organs of perception.
Lalit, 10 or 5?
5 organs of action and 5 organs of perception. So now Sarvadvareshu. From all these organs of action and perception, light streams forth. What does light stream forth mean? In Amar Chitra Kathas, I don't know if you have seen. You know how they show light streaming forth. Actually, light rays are coming from the body, or there's a halo around the head. What it means when you say light stream forth, it means knowledge streams forth. That means everything that a person does, feels, thinks, is all drowned in knowledge. The whole lot of it. Now you say, but now you're saying feel and think. I know all my students tell that. Now you're saying, you just said body, now you're saying feel and think. Feel and think means the genuine one, because when you do the genuine one, it will show forth in actions. Your actions are stemming from that feeling, from those genuine feelings and that sensible thinking. So we cannot call ourselves sensible until our actions are sensible. We cannot call ourselves loving until our actions are loving. We cannot call ourselves efficient until we perform something. So every aspect of it has to come forth in its expression. Okay. When I'm studying in the morning, I am the world's clearest person. When I have to take a single decision in life, total confusion. So, or impulsiveness, one of these two things. So, when my actions stem from right discrimination, right emotion, right purpose, coming down, right? What am I trying to achieve? Then you can say that light streams forth. How do you know this? Actions become productive. Whatever you set out to do, you actually get it done. Emotions, the light is streaming forth, means you become incapable of thinking ill of another person. You just become incapable. You just cannot think ill of another person. Just as earlier you would give excuses when you did something wrong, you will now give excuses when other people do something wrong. Just cannot, become incapable. Like Christ, he's incapable of hating you when you're putting nails in his hands. Incapable. So his perceptions are brilliant, means he notices things. His actions are brilliant, means they achieve results. His emotions are brilliant. That means a complete purity in the heart. And his thinking is brilliant, which means, I'm sure you know that one. Thinking is brilliant means what?
Clarity of thought.
Clarity of mind.
Very good. Clarity of thought. So, perceptions, actions, emotions, thought. In every sense, this light, upajayate, it expresses itself through your actions. Don't forget that. Otherwise, all brilliant in the head. Action is zero. Bharat, is that thought of help even genuine? People don't like to acknowledge one's demons, therefore talk big. Yes, you're right. But that thought of help genuine in the sense, we will assess whether your thought of help is genuine based on what you did. But the person will assess whether his thought of help is genuine based on what he felt. At various times, we feel very charitable, right? We feel charitable. Oh, I must give this person so much. So then I feel, oh, look at me, such noble thoughts. Whether I do it or not. So is that thought of help even genuine? It depends on who is doing that analysis. When the individuals themselves do it, they say, yeah, I genuinely wanted to help. That's their view of the situation. Our view of the situation is, kuch diya to hai nahi, baatein bani bani ki. So that impulse, just that impulse, they consider to be genuine. They themselves. Outside, nobody will think it is genuine.
Okay.
Janki, all along we've been saying it's not the actions but the intention. So how do we
reconcile? By saying, okay. So yeah, you're right. All along we say it's not action, it's intention.
Even one of the poems where it says the one who waits, he need not even serve the God.
Yes. So we have all understood that as, okay, now I have very good thoughts. I don't need to do anything. That is not what it means. What it means is you genuinely wanted to do, but you couldn't for whatever reason. Couldn't means it was in incapacity. Like, for instance, suppose you want to run in the marathon. But then at that point, a person wants to run in the marathon. But at that time, poor thing, that person got a fracture. So they'll say, oh, I wanted to run in a marathon, but I can't do it. And they feel very bad that they couldn't do it. To which philosophy says, that you wanted to do and you did all the practice, you did everything, but at the last minute was not possible because of a genuine thing, not because you changed your mind. So that is accepted as service. It doesn't mean that, okay, as long as I thought that's enough. That's not what it means. That's what most people do, they just think these thoughts and nothing really to show for it. So yes, action matters. We say in the context that just because somebody did something apparently charitable doesn't mean that it was charitable or even sensible. So it's said in two different situations. Mamita, a general mistrust of others means sattva is low. I will say yes because you use the word mistrust. Right? But a tamasic person can be very trusting too. Because trust and mistrust is not what should I say? It's got nothing to do with the intellect. It's got to do with the mind. So we don't analyze based on whether you trust or whether you don't trust. We analyze sattva based on whether the mind loves you and the intellect is able to assess the kind of person you are. Assess doesn't have to be cold assessment, okay? Because if you love a person, your assessment is not cold, but you understand the person.
Right. So if you trust someone, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're sattvic, but if you trust in general, but if you mistrust, then you're sattva. If you have a generalized mistrust of the world, then that should mean that you're low in sattva.
I don't know. When you, because you're saying mistrust, that's why I would say yes. But A sattvic person doesn't have random trust like that.
Being
No, I'm
careful.
talking about mistrust. Like,
Yeah.
why would you have a generalized mistrust of others if your sattva is high?
If I change that word mistrust, you use mistrust, so I'm forced to say yes to this. But a sattvic person's expectations from people are not that high.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if you trust, that means you're depending on others for something. That is not an indication of sattva. But a mistrust indicates absence.
That's what I'm trying my best to say, which I don't think you're accepting, that because you used a negative word such as mistrust. But the sattvic person is not mistrusting in this negative sense. A sattvic person understands the frailty of human nature. You
Yeah, that's what
people,
I'm saying. Like, a sattvic person would not mistrust.
yeah, since you've used a negative term, this is all you have answered the question by using this term, mistrust. So your question is not correct because the way you have framed that question forces the other person to say yes. But the quality of mistrust, the quality itself, take out the negative connotation, that I just expect you will be a wonderful person. No, a sattvic person doesn't do that. A sattvic person, in fact, expects that most people will not be wonderful.
So he's not dependent on others.
It's not nothing to do with dependence. It's to do with assessment. Like an adult doesn't trust a child. The child will be up to nakra that the adult knows this. But that doesn't mean there's any I mistrust the child. It's not mistrust. I assess that it's a child. In its ignorance, it will do stupid things. So the way you formulated the question is the answer is already predetermined.
Okay, I'll think about that. Thank you.
But the important thing, these kind of questions lead us nowhere because they are based on an assumption that it is wrong. That's why the word is mistrust. That's why I'm struggling to say this is not an acceptable question itself. I mean, not every question is acceptable, but that word mistrust, you remember we studied in How Do You Know What You Know, we had studied this point about coloration. So this is negative coloration. You have colored it negative by using the word mistrust. I'm taking that same quality that I don't trust you from an adult to a child. So you don't say that adult mistrusts the child. But does the adult trust the child to take sensible decisions? Certainly not.
Okay, I was coming from the fact that like Christ loved people and so would think from point of view of justifying their actions. So mistrust implies a lack of such love.
That's why you are using the word mistrust, and therefore the question falls. You are predetermining this in the question itself. Mistrust is a negative thing, right? So will a sattvic person do anything negative? No.
Okay.
Meera, what about being gullible because you're sattvic? You are never gullible when you're sattvic. Gullibility is, see, these are how, we, it's the word mistrust. Gullible. These are opposite colorations. Yeah? So gullible, no, a sattvic person is not gullible. Gullible means he doesn't have the discrimination to tell, right? That's what it means. So is he gullible? No. He can be, a tamasic person can be gullible. A rajasic person can be gullible. Tamasic is gullible because they don't think. Rajasic is gullible because of greed. So they really want something and you are promising that they are going to get it. So they want to believe that you will give it to them. So therefore they are gullible. Sattvic, the element of sattva keeps your discrimination going. So you're not gullible.
Janki ji, you were saying about an example of a certain person who had promised a lot of things, and then later we realized that she or he did not keep up the promises. But then we took her point seriously, right? That she was trying to help or do something for the university. In that case, I'm just referring to that.
Yeah, so you cannot be 100% right in all decisions, right? So
Yeah.
there are two people that come to mind straight away as you talk about this. Number one is a gentleman who promises the earth and has done nothing. I mean, he has not done anything. The second one is the lady who not only promised the earth but cheated subsequently. Now I'm not going into the details, but that's what happens. So you will, at first glance, somebody says, sends you this, I will do X, Y, Z for this much amount of money. You're like, okay, fine, do. And it's recommended by somebody. So all the big boxes are ticked. So it's not about being gullible, it's an error of decision. And as the projects become bigger and bigger, and you're taking more and more decisions, your 1% of wrong decisions will mount, right? So it's not being gullible. It is an incorrect decision that the team took. It's completely fine. Remember what they say in banking. If all your debts come through, you're a failed bank manager because you're obviously taken no risk at all. So you cannot get 100% success rate in anything you do. If you have 90, 95%, you're doing very good. So
Thank you, Janki
that's
ji.
not being gullible. That's the point I'm trying to.
Thank you.
Ajay Kasotia. Sattvic person follows dictum, trust but verify. Yeah, I would say love but verify. Trust, why should you trust? I mean, how can you trust? Just like that, you go in positively, obviously. You don't go in with, oh my God, is this person going to try trick me? You go in positively. And quickly you will find out what the person is capable or not capable of performance. Anuja, Sattvic intention is good enough, yet example given of Saint Kabir runs after dog who has run away with Sukhi roti to apply ghee. Yes, that's correct. So, Anuja, the Sattvic intention is enough if just the intention is enough, if you're not able to execute for a genuine reason. I mean, like really we're not able. Like the example of you want to go to the marathon, but you got a fracture. Now how are you going to run? Okay. So you may take a stick or a crutch and somehow hobble across, but that's not really doing it, but you could still do it. So when you have done and left no stone unturned, then just under that condition, just the intention is enough. But if you could have done more and you didn't do it, then the intention is not enough. That means the intention was not what Bharat calls genuine.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Great.
Mamita, I confuse love with trust. Yes, a Sattvic person loves everyone. All right, so verse 11 tells us, how do you know that Sattva is predominant? When all the gates of the body, Sarva Dwareshu, from all the gates of the body, Dehe, of the body, Asmin Dehe, of this body, Prakasha Upachaya. That means every single thing your body did came from your knowledge and your purity. Every action. Now, some actions may go right, some actions may go wrong. All this will happen. That is all immaterial. But what you did came from knowledge and love. Right? So what does it mean? That means if you're doing it like that, then what will happen to your perceptions? You will be very, what should I say? You'll notice things. You'll notice things that other people don't notice, which are relevant to you, please. You can't keep on saying, oh, I notice now that Momita has a red scarf. It's relevant to you. Okay? Or I noticed that Deep Raj has a white t-shirt. But what are we to do with them, the color of their clothes? It's relevant. So you see things actively at the level of perception. See, hear, taste, touch, feel. That is why if you look at art, Sattvic people are very, very good at it. That's why, this whole business about wine tasting, they think that if you can recognize a wine, you are a very cultured person. Why do you think they think so? Because it's a very subtle discrimination. So because it's a subtle discrimination, you can tell this year, that year, now, just by tasting, taking one sip, you know in which year that grape was grown. It requires a subtle discrimination, right? In art also, if you can appreciate fine music or fine whatever, visual art. That means discrimination is. Now, some people apply that all their sattva is only to the wine. Then that means it's a little restricted sattva. But whatever discrimination is taking place, that is the sattva. Okay, so you applied it to all the various things. What you taste. The moment you taste it, you recognize it, you understand it, or you hear it. You hear a tone of somebody's talk, or their particular usage of things. You're hearing this, and you're able to come to conclusions based on it. Relevant conclusions, please. You hear it, or taste it, or smell it, or touch it. You enter a room, you smell something, and you realize something about the room. This room has not been cleaned. It has not been opened for days on end. So, at the perception level, it becomes very sharp observation. At the action level, it becomes purpose-driven action. You achieve whatever it is that you have set out to do. And obviously, what you have set out to do is an unselfish thing. Then what else? At the emotional level, there's complete purity and therefore complete bliss. So how does it manifest? You just seem like a happy person, cheerful person, not balanced, happy, cheerful, calm, peaceful. You notice all Sattvic people look like. Let's say in India we say that, na, uske muh pe tej hai. All Sattvic people appear like that. There's no complications in their mind. It's quite simple for them. And then at the level of the intellect, just clear, understand what you're doing, where you're going, what is the purpose of what is going on, clarity of thought. So when the light of it, so I hope this is clear. It's at all levels of the personality, but it manifests itself in the body. Clear, right? Right. So when the light of wisdom streams forth through all the gates of the body, then it may be known that sattva indeed is predominant. I can take an example. There's a cricketer, the Sachin. Okay, he steps forth and he raises his bat and he hits. And it's an effortless shot. Ball is out of the stadium. The next person to go to bat is me. I do not know how to bat. I go there. They send the ball. Oh, I'm struggling, trying to first get it to connect. Then having connected, it doesn't even go 3 feet away. All that shows absence of sattva in that area. The Sattvic people are skilled at whatever they do. Whatever their area is, they'll be very, very skilled at it. Very proficient at it in terms of action. So light streams through. Everything they do is beautiful. Even if they pack a gift, it will be beautiful. If they sing a song, it will be beautiful. Whatever they do, there'll be a beauty, a grace. about it. I used to have a gym instructor at one point, and he used to say, you must lift your weights in such a way. Anyone standing there will stop doing his exercise and look at how you're doing it. I should introduce Bharat to him, I think. But he was all technique. You get the technique right. He was all into technique. Okay, very good. But his theory was this. It should be a beautiful act. Now, otherwise, all of us will think now lifting one weight. What is the beauty in that act? Okay, you lift your bicep, you do. Now, where beauty is he seeing in that? There's no. It should be done like such fabulous technique that people should stop their exercise and look at you. Nobody stopped their exercise and looked at me, unfortunately. So that concept, anything you do, beautifully executed. Right? So verse 11 clear? Let us go to verse 12. Dubha pravrittirarambah karmanam spruha rajasyetani jayante vivruddhe bharatarshava lobha pravrittirarambah karmanam spruha rajasyetani jayante vivruddhe bharatarshava. Rajas, vivruddhi. Rajas, predominance. Bharatarshava, O Bharatarshava. O Rishabha among the Bharatas. Rishabha means the bull among the Bharatas. Bharatas means all of us. Why is he represented as a bull? Because of the concept. Maximum service, minimum demands. That beautiful concept that was very much part of Indian life is why we worship the cow and the bull. But what does the cow and the bull do? They plow our fields, they give us milk, they give us mithai, they give us ghee, they give us food, which is for the infant baby, which is for the elderly gentleman, which is or lady, of course, and for the wrestler and the bodybuilder. Use something which is applicable across the board. From it you get ghee, from it you get mithai. They give you so much. They plow the fields, they do so much. And what do they ask in exchange? They don't ask anything, but what do we give in exchange? Just a handful of grass. That dry grass, but very big. That attitude in service was always portrayed by Arjuna. So therefore he is referred to as Bharatarshava. He has the power that comes out of service. Bharatarshava. The bull among the Bharat. So he's saying Rajas Vivruddhi. When Rajas is predominant, what happens? Then is given Lobha, greed, Pravritti, activity, Arambha Karmana, the beginning of task, initiation of task, Ashamaha. Ashamaha means no, Shama. Shama means peace, rest. Ashama, none of that. Spruha, longing. This is what happens when Rajas predominates. Lobha. Lobha is greed. What is Lobha? Oh, I've got so much money, I want so much more. But Lobha is not that alone. We have to see it as things we do, as you have often heard. All the time, we think of some very, oh, that man had one car, but he bought 2 more cars. We see it at a very superficial sort of level. We don't know why the gentleman bought 2 cars more if he had one. Why are we thinking about him? We have to see how Lobha is working in my life. Some people are like that, right? You go anywhere and they're always looking कि यहाँ कोई opportunity है, वहाँ कुछ opportunity है. That attitude, what can I get from you? How can I use this whatever position or power or situation or circumstance to make the most out of it for myself? So lobha, the constant looking out कि अभी मुझे क्या मिलेगा, अभी मुझे क्या मिलेगा. They join social service organizations for that. Rotary में join करो तो अच्छे contacts बनते हैं. लोभ. Then pravritti arambha. Pravritti means activity. They're so full of desires that they're constantly running here, there, and everywhere. Deepraj, it's like looking into a mirror. Yes, Deepraj, these are all us human beings he's describing us. Bharat, greed can be at all levels of the personality, right? Yes, greed can be at all levels of the personality. So, yeah, very common is, your spouse does everything for you, but you grumble because they didn't do that additional one thing. So it's all levels of the personality. Similarly, books. You have filled your library with books, but you still want to buy more books. You have read all the books also, but you still want to read more books. कुछ अंदर तो जाता नहीं है, पर books पढ़ेंगे. Greed, yes, all levels of the personality.
So that's intellectual greed, right?
Intellectual greed means greed at the level of the intellect. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Remember, intellect cannot be greedy. It is not capable of. But intellectual desires, we can be greedy about. It's activity. Activity means you're just running around foolishly. You're doing so much work because you never did it right in the first place. You say, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. What are you busy doing? What is the performance? What is the delivery? Nothing, but I'm so busy. What did I do? I put something on my Facebook. Then I put something on my LinkedIn. Then I made myself look pretty and put a nice picture on Instagram. Whole day is gone. But what have you achieved? Even in our work, that can happen. Everybody's so busy. So what is the achievement? That's the question. So how much money has come in the bank? So much money as everybody is working hard. They have to do fund collection. But how much money is in the bank? You know what's the situation, right? We bought the land. So good, tick. We got the architect. So good, tick. Now we have to build. Where is the money? We need 10 crores. Where is this 10 crores coming from? We have no idea. So everyone's running around, and I'm sure all of you are doing something or the other to help raise funds. But where's the money in the bank? Let's see it in the bank. What is the use of saying, oh, I did this, I did that? Show me the money, honey. So there has to be a sort of assessment. Am I going in the right direction? Am I actually achieving the end that I have sought? Rajas is not capable of that. Rajas is capable of
Activity.
Running around.
running up. अब run your ये काम शुरू करो, वो काम शुरू करो. अरे पर एक काम तो खत्म करो. नहीं, ये भी शुरू करेंगे, ये भी करेंगे, वो भी करेंगे, ये भी करेंगे. Please, chill. Take a step back. Think about it. Think about whether anything is working in what you're doing. So activity is a very strong indication of Rajas, because there is more storm in a teacup than any actual thing happening. So please don't misunderstand that. Many Indians have misunderstood it down this thing that, oh, if you're active, you're Rajasic. It's not if you're active, you're Rajasic. If you have this brainless activity, like you're running here, there, you're there, you're there, and nothing really is achieved, that is rajasic activity. Then arambha, karmanam, the starting of works. This is another very misunderstood thing. It's like people say, oh, initiative is not good. That means jo kaam kar rahe ho, utna karo, but don't take on any more work. That is so wrong. All our life, we should be taking on more work, taking on more challenges, doing more. If you are alive, you are receiving, right? And if you're receiving, why are you not giving? I can't understand this. No, 30 years I worked. Okay, but you are alive for 60 years. For 30 years, somebody else is supposed to work for you. If you are alive, you please work. Your job is to work. Because work is your expression of gratitude for what you have received. No, now I'm so old. Now I can't work. I've been running around for the last 50 years. Hello. How can you say, I have been paying my water bill for 50 years. Now I will have take water, but I will not pay the bill. What logic is there in that? No, now 50 years I paid my electricity bill. Now I won't pay it anymore. But you're using electricity. As long as you're using, you'll have to pay. Isn't it? Suppose Mahesh says, now I've 60 years I paid my electricity bill. Now I don't need to pay it anymore. Will we accept it? And will you tell the sabzi wala, 60 years I have been buying vegetables from you. Now I'm not going to pay you for vegetables anymore. As long as you eat, you have to pay the guy, right? But we'll say this to nature. Oh, I have worked 30 years. Now I'm not going to work anymore. You please give me everything. I will do nothing. This belief they call sattvic. It is so sad. It is so tamasic. But they think it's sattvic. So, what is he saying? What does it mean? Arambha karmana. So he is saying if you are rajasic, you will undertake actions. Right, Meera? The concept of retirement should not exist. So, what does it mean then? Obviously, you have to work. Obviously, you have to take on fresh challenges. Obviously, you have to do more. Then why is he saying arambha karmanam, the initiation of action? He's saying it because of a rajasic attitude which says, I started this. Okay, now we are all working for the world's first Vedanta university. And we will say, we set up the world's first Vedanta university. I hope we'll say that one day, but if we set it up and if we say it, then that is a rajasic attitude because
We put ourselves in the action.
yes, but why are we saying that? Why is that not correct?
Because ego is involved.
Yes, so what is okay, fine, but why can't we say we did it?
Because it's not the effort of a single person or a group of people, it's the effort of everyone and everything involved.
It is the effort that started at Big Bang. You realize that? For you to set up Vedanta University, the Big Bang had to take place to begin with. Then the sun had to form. The planets had to form. The dinosaurs had to come and go. Because had the dinosaurs been there, the mammals wouldn't have survived. The dinosaur would have eaten you up. Finished, you are dead, you're gone. What are you going to do? So until the dinosaurs were there, the mammals couldn't grow. And a big asteroid had to hit Earth, the KT, what explosion had to take place. Then the dinosaurs were destroyed. Then the mammals came out and looked out and said, oh, now I think we can survive. And they evolved and became apes and became humans. 40,000 years, not 40, how many years? These humans had to leave Africa. Humanoids and humans had to leave Africa. Bharat, the vote of thanks would be long in the university, Mahurat. That's right. Correct. It would be very on. We'll have to start from Big Bang. Who knows what happened before Big Bang? And then what? Then the dinosaurs went, the mammals came, the mammals evolved into humans, the humans developed the Sanskrit language, got the Vedas. Okay, let's say they did this 10,000 years ago. Then for 10,000 years, people have continued the knowledge of Vedanta, which today we are studying and which we hope to build a university for in the future. And we say, after all that, okay, 14 billion years have gone by, and we say, I started, I did. Do you realize that if glasses had not been invented, many of us could not have read the scriptures? How many things were involved before we can set up a universe? And then I say, Arambha. I did the Arambha. I started it. It is a Bheti Ganga. All of civilization, and before it and after it, is a Bheti Ganga. The Rajasic do not see the work of the people that preceded them. Therefore, they believe that I have started. This attitude that I have started is a Rajasic attitude. He is not trying to say that do not have initiative, because initiative is much appreciated. It's not that you shouldn't start new things, but the attitude that I have forgotten all that my predecessors have done, and now I say, I am doing. So that is a Rajasic attitude. Ashama. Because he has so many incorrect attitudes in life, the Rajasic person is an ever agitated person. He always finds reason to be agitated, permanently in an agitated mode. If there is too much traffic, he will get agitated. If it rains, he gets agitated. If it is sunshine, he gets agitated. Today, everything you get agitated. It's very difficult to live with a Rajasic person because this is disturbing him, that is troubling him. Take it in your stride. It's okay, things happen. Everything you're going to react and react. Are you a human being or a popcorn on a tawa? Make up your mind. Jumping. Relax, chill. So, ashama. This is disturbing, that is disturbing. What are you getting so disturbed about? We think those things are disturbing. What really is disturbing us is
Interruption of our desires.
Uncontrolled desire.
all this. Nobody is listening.
Craving.
Pravritti, the wrong mental attitudes that the Rajasic person has, is what is disturbing. There can be no other cause of that. Now, don't talk about what else you've learned. Now, in this, Lobha, Pravritti, Arambha, Karmana, all of this leads to Ashama. And all of this then comes from Spruha. Spruha means longing, craving, desires we all have. But should every desire become a longing and craving? Is there any necessity for that? Yes, okay, you have a desire. You want to do something. You want to set up Vedanta University. Chalo, you want to do something. Now, should you stay up at night every night? Oh, university hasn't come. You can make yourself an estimation. Okay, I think in 3 years or 4 years, whatever time you think you need. Okay, that much time. Then you keep working. Oh, I'm longing, I can't sleep. Oh, it's taking so long, so many interruptions. What do you think? A thing like this will happen without interruptions? Hajar interruptions. Hajar demons will come to throw rubbish in your yagnya kund. That's how it is, right? Every yagnya of the past you heard that the Rakshasas came and they threw all the rubbish into the yagnya kund. And then Rama had to go and fight those demons. It's a normal thing. You try to do something great, somebody will try to interrupt. We take it in our stride. We just take it in our stride and keep moving. So these negative attitudes that the Rajasic person has leads to his mental agitation. the right attitudes which the sattvic have leads to light streaming forth from all the gates of the body. Now, what is this tamasic? Our tamasic friends' ways we will do next time. Now, does anybody have an announcement? We